I bumped into the trailer of The Eternal Life of Goldman randomly on my YouTube homepage right before I was going to bed. The vibrant 2D cartoon aesthetic that also somehow reminded me of Ghibli movies immediately intrigued me, and I downloaded the demo right away. The next morning, the first thing I did was start the game, and I couldn't get up to make my breakfast before finishing the demo. Yes, it was that good. The game begins with a bombastic, high production value animated intro that looks like the beginning of a AAA high production value action-adventure cartoon's title sequence. And then it seamlessly transitions into the titular Goldman being dropped in the first level. Just by this first impression alone, I was already sold. It took me 2 hours to finish the demo, and in that short time, I encountered precise pogo jump-based platforming, Metroidvania-style ability upgrades, NPCs that you need to have long conversations with, lots of side quests, world map, local map, boss fights, and at the end of the demo, a sneak peek of what's available in the full game, which seemed to be a lot more variety. You play as Goldman, an old grandpa adventurer who has a cane that you use to stab enemies by jumping on them and to pogo onto platforms. You unlock different abilities by finding parts of your cane that you can equip and swap instantaneously. For example, this hook handle lets you grab these rings, this bouncy shaft lets you jump higher, etc. For the first 5 minutes, the control felt a little janky as you have to jump with one button and then hold another button to continuously pogo with the cane. But because the controls are so well tuned, it took me a very short time to get used to it and start having fun. The first boss you face in the demo is a flaming angry bull, and upon defeating it, the game surprises you by revealing that this adventure is a story being told by a mom to her son who is in a hospital. We never see them, only hear their voice, but their conversation is accompanied by complimentary visuals. This at first gave me the idea that even though the game seems like a colorful, fun adventure, which it sure is, but it also is going to tell a much darker story. And very soon my conjecture got confirmed when I arrived at this island hub world and started talking to its inhabitants. They all had quirky personalities, but some of them were also talking about pretty dark stuff. So yeah, beside the gameplay, I'm also intrigued about the story, which is kind of rare for me, especially in cases of 2D Metroidvania action-adventure type games. But even in this short demo, there was a lot of talking and reading on offer. So I'll have to see in the full game how much reading I can bring myself to do before I decide to give up. But I still found the story within the story style narrative quite interesting. Sometimes during gameplay sections, the mother and son intervenes and makes a comment about what's happening in the game.
Come on! He can't reach the ring to lower the bridge!
He needs a longer cane. He's not up to it yet.
It shows a lot of narrative potential, and as of now, I'm looking forward to unveiling it in the full game. What I think impressed me the most, apart from the obviously amazing visuals, is the variety that was on display in this demo. The side quests are seemingly not only about going from point A to B and fetching an item. They involve finding and talking to NPCs, gathering clues, passwords, entering coordinates on a computer, playing minigames to discover new locations, etc. These gave me an impression of scale and possibilities that immediately took my expectation even higher than what the visuals alone already set. I truly hope the full game doesn't disappoint. The Metroidvania elements are nicely tucked in with the rest of the mechanisms of the game. It's not a traditional Metroidvania where the whole map is essentially one gigantic level, but rather the world is divided in different locations with their own visual identities and unique enemies. I can see there will be some backtracking where you pick up an ability from one island to progress further in another. Considering there are NPCs and thus side quests scattered all over, the idea of backtracking is totally fine with me, especially since fast traveling between the islands on the map are pretty easy and load times are fast. Combat and platforming were just fine in terms of difficulty. The platforming, at least in this demo, didn't feel overwhelming in any way, and especially because they tend to have a puzzle-solving element in them as well, I think the platforming in terms of timing and reflex is going to be on the tolerable preferable site for you if your platforming skills are average like me. Same goes for combat. Since you can't directly hit the enemies, only jump on their heads like Super Mario, at first I thought it's going to get stale pretty soon. But because of the controls, animation, sound design, and the juice, it felt very satisfying. I can't get over how gorgeous the visuals are. The YouTube compression doesn't do justice with it. You just have to play the game to actually experience it. The slightly blurred out background and foreground elements add a great sense of depth. But with so much detail everywhere and the vibrant color palette, I did worry if readability of platforms might become an issue. But in the demo, I didn't face any such thing. The release date of the full game hasn't been announced yet, but the demo is available on Steam for everyone to play. It's completely bug-free and super polished, which gives me confidence about the technical quality of the full game. Kudos to the developers for such a nicely packaged demo. If you're into any kind of 2D games, or even if you're not, just to experience the visuals, I'd urge you to play the demo today. This video is not sponsored or anything, by the way. It's my genuine reaction to the game, and I think I'm just gonna go play it once more. See you in the next video.